Quick question. Have you ever heard someone say no to a raise because they were scared it would push them into a higher tax bracket and that the raise would somehow leave them with less money? It sounds logical, but it's completely false. A raise can never leave you with less money, not in a marginal system, and almost every system tax on earth is marginal. So let's kill this myth for good with real numbers. First, the thing most people get wrong. People imagine tax brackets like one big switch. Earn a little, you're in the low bracket. Pay a low rate on everything. Earn $1 more, you flip to the high bracket, and suddenly all your money is taxed at a higher rate. That would be terrifying. It's also not how it works. The real system doesn't use one switch, it uses buckets. Picture your income pouring in from the top. It fills the first bucket, then spills into the next. Each bucket has its own tax rate. The first one is the cheapest. Only the money that lands in a bucket pays that bucket's rate. Let me show you with simple round numbers. Say the first bucket is taxed at 10%. It holds your first $30,000. The next bucket is taxed at 20%. It holds everything over the 30,000 up to 60,000. Now let's hire two people, Anna and Ben. Anna earns $30,000 a year. All of her money sits in the first bucket. 10% of 30,000 is 3,000 in tax. She keeps 27,000. Simple, right? Now Ben gets a raise and earns 40,000. Here's where people panic. He's in the 20% bracket now. So does he pay 20% on all 40,000? No. That's the whole myth right there. His first 30,000 still sits in the 10% bucket. That part is taxed exactly like Anna's. 3,000. Only the extra 10,000 spills into the 20% bucket. 20% out of 10,000 is 2,000. So Ben's total tax is 3,000 from the first bucket plus 2,000 from the second one. $5,000 in tax. He earned 10,000 more and kept 8,000 of it. More money in equals more money kept. Always. The higher rate only ever touches the top slice, never the whole thing. That is what marginal means. Which brings us to two numbers people mix up: your marginal rate and your effective rate. Your marginal rate is the rate on your next dollar. For Ben, that's 20%, his top bucket. But he didn't pay 20% on everything. He paid 5,000 on 40,000 of income. That's 12.5% overall. That average is your effective rate, the only that actually matters. It's always lower than your top bracket. Always. Okay, now two more words people get backwards: deductions and credits. They're not the same thing. A deduction lowers the income you get taxed on. It shrinks the number before the rate is applied. Say Ben gets a $5,000 deduction. His taxable income drops from 40,000 to 35,000. That 5,000 would have been taxed in his top bucket at 20%. So he saves $1,000. A deduction is only worth your marginal rate. A credit is different. A credit cuts the tax itself, not the income, the actual tax bill. A $1,000 credit saves you $1,000, dollar for dollar, full stop. So a credit almost always beats a deduction of the same size. One last pair: gross versus net. Gross is the big number on the job offer. Net is what actually lands in your bank account. Between them sit taxes and things like pension or insurance. Gross is the promise, net is the paycheck. Now let's go back to that raise you were scared of. A raise adds money to your top bucket. That top slice is taxed at your highest rate, yes, but you still keep most of every extra dollar. Even at a 50% rate, you keep half of the raise. Half of extra money is still extra money. The bracket never reaches back and taxes the money below it. Now, one honest exception, so nobody yells at me. Sometimes a raise pushes you off a government benefit, a subsidy, or a credit with an income cutoff. That's a benefits cliff, and it's a real thing. But that's the benefit being removed. It is not the tax brackets punishing your raise. Two completely different things. Don't blame the brackets. So here's everything in one breath. Brackets are buckets. Only the top slice pays the top rate. Your effective rate is always lower than your bracket. Deductions shrink your income. Credits shrink your tax. Gross is the offer. Net is the paycheck. And the raise always, always leaves you with more money. So the next time someone says they're scared of a higher bracket, you'll know the truth. Take the raise. Every single time. Before you go, one quick favor. Is there something school never actually taught you? Something you've always nodded along to but never really understood? Put it in the comments and I'll draw it out for you badly. Because somehow, the worse the drawing, the better it sticks. Worst artist you'll ever learn from. Best teacher you've got. So, drop your topic below. See you in the next one.